I hope you think of these tips as being things that are exposing now all of these hidden layers that are behind the scenes in IT, maybe even in whatever job you are in right now. This next one is a hard one to deal with. It's workplace toxicity. I don't know if you've ever worked in just an environment that seems to sap the life out of you, but I'm going to tell you a quick story about that, what that was like for me. I had never, up to this point, really hated going to work. It was never in the back of my mind when I got out of work, oh, I got to go back in the next morning. But I shifted into this role, into this job where I was going to be working with a team that was working on auditing. And I thought, man, this is where God's calling me. This is where I'm going to expand a little bit. I'd hit the ceiling with what I was doing in IT and education, and this is going to have a lot more headroom to it. So it makes sense. So I landed this job, and very quickly I realized this is not a good environment. I had an incredible amount of projects I was managing. I can't go into that here. Maybe that'll be a podcast episode later. So I had all of these projects I was managing. I was trying to manage this team of people to help them get their work done, and nobody was receptive to new ideas of new ways to work. I was hired to do this. I was hired to help them get out unstuck, and they were very unreceptive. So after about a month and a half in this environment, I'm like, I have to get done. I can't work in this. This is not a healthy environment. So I ended up getting done. And there's some things like when you give notice in a healthy environment, people can kind of come alongside you and say, hey, wish you were staying around or whatever, and kind of, get a decent like send off into whatever. I'd only been there for 2 months, and I just got the cold shoulder. It was a very toxic environment. Nobody spoke to me. I came in, said, hey, how you guys doing this morning? Not a word. It might have been a grumble. I was like, oh, this is bad. This is a bad environment. Could not wait for that week to get done, and then I ended up getting done at the end of that week. You have to be aware. You have to be thinking with awareness when you take jobs. It's when you go in for an interview and you're meeting a team, everybody's kind of got their smiles on, and oh yeah, glad to have you here, and hope you can really be an asset to our team, and blah blah blah. But when you actually get into the environment, is really when you're going to be able to tell if it's a healthy environment or unhealthy environment. So what do you do, right? Well, for me, I had the opportunity to very quickly shift gears, and go into Stitch Golf, where I'm at right now. But for you in that environment might be that you have to start putting your resume back out there, trying to keep some warm contacts with some of the companies you've been interviewing with to kind of like see if there might still be something there that you can shift into. But environments that are toxic are really going to suck the life out of you. They're really going to just damage your what you think about IT. They're going to damage your workflow. It's going to be very challenging to just get anything done in that kind of environment. So the tip here is to be aware, to look for it, to know how to identify it, the things that make you feel uneasy throughout the day as you're working, and you're like, something seems weird about that situation. And sometimes it's just toxic people that you have to avoid because they're just going to suck the life out of you. So it's not awesome news. The awesome news, though, is that you can shift. You can get out of it in the right time. You can be looking for opportunity. If you can recognize that the toxicity is going on and that there's nothing going to change, then maybe it's time to get out of that environment and step into something that's healthier. So I hope you find this helpful. It's not the easiest thing to deal with. And leave comments. You got questions about this, leave comments. I'll be more than happy to try and answer your questions. See you guys.